Ladies and gentlemen, button pushers and wrench turners, welcome to another episode of Something's Broken. It's been 2 fucking weeks and I'm back. It's been pretty busy. Pretty fucking busy. To lead off, my contractor quit his W-2 job and is on full time with me now. So that's pretty exciting. We're doing a pretty good job of keeping him busy right now. We have some new developments that I'll kind of talk about a little bit here. So him and I decided to start a hotshot trucking company. We went 50-50 partnership on it. Obviously, I'm the money man. So I'm making all the initial investments to, get the trailer and start the company and all that shit, which is fine. I'm all for it. Um, and I think eventually the idea behind that is to start going into offering machine rigging and machine moving for customers and shit like that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, Today, actually, I purchased the company's first trailer, so woo! But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I'm excited. Honestly, we still have a lot to go. As far as before we were able to start like running freight and shit like that, it's a lot. It really is to start something like that. But we're making the strides. Where the LLC is formed, partnership is done. Lawyers are all good. Fucking everything's good. We're just working on getting insurance now. We got the trailer now. We gotta go through the DOT, get trucks done, shit like that. So yeah, exciting. But let's get into it. 2 weeks worth of shit. Here we go. I had a customer that had this old horizontal fucking Haas. Old. I'm talking old, man. Like 1995, if not older. They asked us to come in and see if we could revitalize it, try to get the spindle motor to work and shit like that. Well, I kind of had a feeling that the memory was going to be lost out of it because it's just been off for so long and the battery's probably died and the NC's probably wiped. And sure enough, I turned it on and yeah, everything's fucking wiped. Can't even turn it on. So I told the customer, I was like, listen, man, like, I really don't think this thing's going to be worth bringing back to life. It's going to cost you a lot of fucking money and I just don't think it's worth it. And he's like, no, we know. We know. Like, we had Haas quote it, and they quoted it like 80 grand to bring it back to life. And like, holy fuck. They're like, yeah. So we kind of had a feeling. We just thought we'd give somebody else a shot at it and see what, get a second opinion on it. I was like, yeah, man. I was like, my hands are tied. I can't really do it. And I was like, as far as like wiring in your motor, your new motor and shit, like that would have been fine. But you're not going to be able to do anything once you get the motor hooked up. The machine won't boot up. So it is what it is. So moved into a Yamasaki vertical mill, 1600 BM, I think. I never really worked too much on Yamasaki before, so it was a little new, but I had a pretty good source to talk to from a distributor around here, and they were able to help me out, kind of like fast track me to what was going on, what needed to be replaced. So replaced the booster unclamped cylinder, and then also needed to replace the actual unclamped cylinder. So when I did that, I had to reset the stroke on the drawbar, which was kind of a motherfucker to do, but I was able to get it and get it to act accordingly. So got that back up and running for the customer. That was down for like a week and a half, 2 weeks waiting on parts, and the distributor was like weeks out, so they couldn't get in there. So they asked me to look at it. I was like, yeah, sure, fuck it. So I'm happy I was able to get that up for them. They also had a machine that was an NL 2500 that was not indexing correctly, and I pulled the motor out, the indexing motor out, and indexed the motor without it attached to the turret, and it was fine. Like, it wasn't making, the loud humming noises or anything like that, or fucking up indexing or misindexing or anything like that. So I was like, okay, pretty sure the master bearing shot, and the master bearing was indeed shot. So I completely disassembled the turret, pulled the turret out of the machine, disassembled it. and we had to wait on a new master bearing to show up. Got the master bearing in, put it in, and still was kind of doing the same thing on the motor. So I was like, what the fuck, man? So it was a dual axis drive. It shared T and B axis. So I went ahead and swapped the T output with the B output. On dual axis drives, you can do that as long as it's got rotary switches. This was a Mitsubishi machine. So it was relatively easy to swap, and it actually took care of the problem. So that pointed to, okay, the output voltage for the drive is getting a little weak. So I let the customer know. I was like, you could probably run it for now. I was like, eventually you're going to need another drive. I was like, I got it a hell of a lot better than what it was before. It's not misindexing anymore. And it's working the way that it should. So um, the when I got the master bearing out, I mean, it was completely fucking caked with coolant infiltration, contamination. So I was like, okay, well, I don't feel bad about that. It was definitely the master bearing was part of it. I think the master bearing started going out and started causing tightness in the rotation, and then the binding started reflecting to the motor output and causing the motor output to strain harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. So yeah, it's kind of like a domino effect, which I end up having another one like that, which I'll get into. Um, Local college, they had a closing lathe that they couldn't get the digital readout to turn on. It was just a trip breaker in the electrical cabinet. I didn't even charge him to show up. I was like, listen, I'm not even going to charge you. I was here for 20 fucking minutes, man. I live like 10 minutes down the street. Like, I'm not going to charge you, man. Just, if you guys have any problems in the future, just let me know. They thank me for it. So, um, contractor was at a job, um, which was a little weird, and it was a Mazak HCN 6800, and it was getting uh oh fuck, now I can't remember the alarm number now. Um, the best way to describe the alarm was basically a switch wasn't being made in the ATC cycle. So I sent my contractor in there to, for one, locate the switch in the electrical cabinet, find out what it is, what it does, what's the logic behind it, and then find it physically in the machine. He couldn't find it physically in the machine. I was like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. Like, it was SQ24 and SQ25. He could not find neither one of those switches in the ATC area. It's like, what the fuck, man? So I'm like reading. I was like, all right, man, just don't spend too much time. The customer shuts down at 10 o'clock. Just go do what you can in the few hours that you're there, and then just leave. It is what it is. So he went to another customer right after that, and was working on quoting fabrication of some stairs for a machine. So he's really good at fabrication. So I try to throw him any kind of job like that. Uh, he's really good. So um, I go in there Monday. This was a Friday. I go in there Monday, and I get inside the ATC, and I'm like looking at the switches, and I tell the operator, go ahead and do a tool change, and I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, oh, what the fuck, man? It does everything just fine. Like, it does an entire tool change just fine, so nothing stops, but you still get an alarm after a tool change. So I get in there, and the the waiting pot, because this arm grabs the tool, swings it around, puts it into a waiting pot, and then the waiting pot has this air cylinder that comes up and locks the tool in the waiting pot so it doesn't fall out prematurely. Well, come to find out, the switches designations on that air cylinder were SQ27 and 28. The electrical schematic said they were SQ24 and 25. They were not necessarily wrong. I just think they were a different. The electrical schematic was a different version. So I watched the air cylinder. Air cylinder didn't move. I was like, ah, okay, now I get it. I got in there, looked at the air supply for both sides of the air cylinder. One of the air supplies was completely pinched, so it wasn't even locking the tool in. So that's what the alarm was. So I got the kink out, redirected the air line so they'll never kink again, and sure enough, took care of the issue. So shit like that, you gotta be careful, man. Sometimes you run into that. You're looking for a certain wire designation, and you're in the electrical schematic, like, dude, this doesn't make any fucking sense. It's not in the machine. Well, sometimes OEMs will manufacture a machine and then they'll give you a broad version of the electrical schematic for that machine. And that doesn't necessarily mean like everything on the machine designation matches the electrical schematic. So you got to be careful with that sometimes. I've ran into that a handful of times. It's not often, but I've ran into it for sure. So I was glad to figure that out relatively quickly when I got in there and um, uh, yeah, got it back up and running. No issues. Customer hasn't had an issue since. So but that's good. Um, Back to the other customer with the turret. They got the parts in for the turret. I rebuilt the turret. This was the following week, so it went ahead and did that. But they had another Mori CL 2000. This one really fucked me up, man. uh, so I was getting an alarm on the Z-axis motor at power up. It's like, okay, and usually for me, it's relatively pretty easy to like start troubleshooting on drive units. You disconnect the motor leads, power it up, and see if you still have the same alarm. And I didn't, so I was like, okay, well, it's either the motor or the drive, but I still have an alarm on the drive. And on some machines, most of the time, if you disconnect the motor, 7 out of 10 times, depending on who the OEM is of the drive manufacturer, like it's Fanuc, Siemens, Mitsubishi. Siemens is a lot more finickier with motors being disconnected. They have a lot more logic behind it. Fanuc is probably the most uh, forgiving when disconnecting motors. Mitsubishi is kind of right there in the middle. So when I disconnected the motor and I threw another alarm, it was a deceiving alarm. So it was just basically saying, hey, we sent the voltage out to the motor and we're not sensing anything. So that's why I thought it was the drive unit. So I got the drive unit in. I bought it because the customer wasn't set with Mitsubishi. Whatever. So I bought it. I put the drive unit in. No, no. Oh, let me go back. I megged the motor through the cable and I mega ohmed the motor. Everything was fine. No issues. Um, I even did an insulation test. No issues. So it wasn't the motor. At least I didn't think it was. At least from my checks, it wasn't the motor. So I get the drive unit. I put the drive unit in. I leave the motor disconnected. I turn the machine on. I get the same exact alarm that I was getting before, which was an overload alarm. I was like, okay, that's odd. I'm going to go ahead and connect the motor and we'll see what happens. I connect the motor, same fucking alarm. 32 alarm. I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So I call Mitsubishi and I'm talking to him. I was like, dude, like, it's either the motor or the drive. And I just swapped the drive. How is it the motor? Even though I megged the motor megged fine. And I check continuity, check installation, check ohms. Everything looks okay. He's like, well, do you have a milliohm meter? I was like, no, I've hardly ever work on anything that small that I need a milliohm meter, or sorry, milliamp meter. He's like, yeah, you should definitely milliamp the meter the motor. I was like, did he say milliamp or milliohm? I think he said milliohm. I can't remember. He's like, yeah, I've got a work order in here that said that they did the same exact thing as you, swapped the drive, checked meg the motor, everything was fine, but then they milli ohmed or milliamped the motor. I can't remember what he said, and they found a shorted leg. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, Well, I don't have that type of meter, and I can almost guarantee that that meter is going to be pretty fucking expensive. So I was like, I'll just buy the motor. I'll take a fucking shot in the dark. I'll just get the motor. I return the drive, pick up the motor. Now the Vernon Hills is an hour and a half from this customer one way, so you're like 3 hours round trip. So they return the drive. They pick up the motor. They bring the motor back. I put the motor in. The fucking drive got taken out by the motor. So the motor shorted and then took out the drive. Oh man. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So I had to get the motor and then I had to send them back to pick up the drive again. And then I had no issues. Everything worked after that. I was like, dude, what a fucking shit show, man. I should have just kept the drive until after all seven was done. That's my fault. I was trying to be conservative, but it's just whatever. Machine's back up and running, and is what it is. I tried to see what could have caused the short. The cabling was fine. Doesn't look like it's getting a bunch of coolant dripping on it or anything like that. So, um, I think it was just wear over time. It's just condensation maybe. Just finally got inside the motor and shorted the motor. And once I got the motor out and I smelled it, oh yeah, it was definitely shorted. But it's something that big of a short, I think I would have seen that, megging it, but guess not. Okay. Contractor went to another customer that I kind of threw him to the wolves on. I wasn't too hopeful about it. Uh, it's a very old Fadal mill, like very old. So I sent him in there, and he calls me, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know, man." He's like, "I think it's this drive unit. It's got like this old Baldur fucking drive unit on it." And he's like, "Yeah, I think it's the drive unit." I was like, "Well, disconnect the spindle from the drive unit, and then turn the machine on and see if you still got the alarm." I was like, "Do you have a a megger?" He's like, "No." I was like, "You need to get a fucking megger. You gotta start megging motors." Uh, Disconnected it, still had the same alarm. And I was like, "Well, are you getting the alarm like at power up?" And he's like, "Yeah, like as soon as I turn the power on, the thing's alarmed out." It's like, okay, that's strange because I thought it was just getting an alarm when they were signaling a spindle rotation, but that was not the case. So he we were like getting down to the end of telling the customer, "Yeah, it's a drive unit, man, and at the age of the machine, you might as well fucking get rid of it." I mean, it was like a 1989 fucking Fadal or some shit like that, and he was already kind of leaning towards scrapping the machine. Shout out to my customer. He goes on Google and he finds a manual for the drive unit, not the machine, for the drive unit, and he looks up the alarm number for the drive unit. It's a fan alarm. Ha! Shit! He's like, "Dude, it's a fan alarm." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, look for the fan. It's probably not fucking spinning." And he finds the fan on top of the drive unit, and sure enough, one of them's not spinning. I was like, "Ah, good job, buddy. That's your problem." And he got the fan turned on. Got it to rotate. I guess I had some shit built up in it. Cleaned the shit out of it and got it to work. And no alarms on the machine. Got the machine to boot up. And here we almost told the fucking customer to make a very expensive call. And contractor Cam took a little bit more initiative and did some more digging on it. And yeah, he found a very simple fix on it. Fucking shout out to him, man. I praised the hell out of him. I was like, "Dude, great job." I mean, you literally did what a service guy is supposed to do, and I'm fucking proud of you. So while he was there, they had another machine where the main power disconnect broke on it. Uh, Very old machine as well too. So he had to basically order a new disconnect and had to install an external disconnect because the one that's inside the machine was discontinued. Go figure. So that's what he was doing today, and he knocked that out, got that all said and done. So yeah, he's doing good, man. Contractor Cam, I think, is gonna start taking more initiative of the trucking business. I think from the sounds of it, that's kind of he wants to try to get that going. And I'm like, that's fine, that's great. I mean, if that's what you want to do, I'm not going to stop you from doing that, dude. Like, I'll start the company with you. I'll make the investment into the company and get it up and going. And then, later down the road, if you decide you want to buy me out the other half of it, whatever, I'll sell you the whole company. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, if you want to be successful and you want to do it with me, I'm gonna find a way to make it become successful, or at least I'm gonna give you all the tools for the company to become successful. Um, if I'm going to invest into something, I'd rather invest into something that I think is well worth it and that I really think is going to make it. So, and Contractor Cam is a great dude, man. He really is. Like, he's a good dude, and I really do trust him with any fucking business that I have. Like, he's just as hungry as I am. Like, he wants to be successful just as much as I do, and yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. We've been having a blast since he's been on full time. I mean, he's fun to work with, and it's been fun, man. I'm so excited for the future. Like, I I wish it could happen faster because I'm so impatient. But yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool. I don't deserve it. That's for damn sure. But I'm gonna wing with it, man. I'm gonna ride with it to the end. So, um, Contractor Cam also has a chip conveyor that's just completely fucked from a customer. He quoted it out to completely refab almost the entire conveyor to make it operable again, and we're just waiting on an approval on the quote from the customer. Um, Sounds like they may not have too much of a choice but to roll with us. It is a little pricey to repair it, but they don't really have any other choice, from what I understand. So um, I don't know. We're kind of waiting on that, but we'll see. All right, motivation time. Becoming sober. I had a buddy reach out to me yesterday, and he goes, "Hey man, I just want to hit you up, like, and I just want to let you know, like, you're really an inspiration to me. Like, I've been following your sobriety journey, and you're fucking doing great, man." He's like, I need some advice from you. He's like, I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to become sober, and so it's kind of like a cry for help, man. Just I was like, dude, nobody's really ever asked me what I did or what I had to do to become sober, and I'll be 1 year bone sober at the end of this month, and nobody's asked me that before. I've never really talked about what I had to do to become sober with anybody. I kind of just like kept it to myself. And to have somebody reach out to me and ask me, it was I didn't really know how to process it because I want to be there for him as much as I can, uh, the best that I can. Like, I want to give him the best advice that I can. Uh, so I just had to take a step back and just kind of think before I responded to him, um, because my journey is not going to be the same as his. Um, he's not at the same point in his life that I was that caused me to go sober. Um, so I responded back to him. I was like, well, let's just start from square one, man. Have you tried to go sober? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I went 30 days sober. I was like, when did you relapse? He's like, today, like right now, I'm relapsing. I'm like, okay, that's okay, man. That's that's okay. You made it 30 days and you relapsed. That's There's nothing wrong with that. And I basically told him, I was like, you're going to go through this because you haven't had anything, at least that I know of, drastic happen in your life that's forcing you to become sober. And at that point, the only way that you're going to become sober is if you truly want to become sober. And I asked him, I was like, do you really want to be sober? Like, do you actually really in your heart feel like it's time for me to become sober? He's like, yeah, I think so. It's like, okay. I was like, your wife and your kids deserve the best version of you. And it's time for you to give them the best version of you. And if you think the best version of you is becoming sober, then it's time for you to become sober. I was like, there's a really good quote from The Rock, and he goes, you guys have heard me say it. It's one day or day one. And I said, go through your relapse tonight, and then tomorrow it's a new day. It's day one tomorrow, and I want you to make it to October 14th sober. Just start there. That's 30 days. And if you can make it 30 days to October 14th, then we're going to go to 45 days after that. And if you make it to 30 days and you relapse, that's okay. That's fine. But when you wake up the next morning, that's day one. And you start all over. And then you're going to go to 45 days. I was like, if you can do that, if you can start there and achieve that goal of making it 30 days, if you don't relapse, go to 45 days. And if you make it to 45 days and you have no intuition or no motivation or ambition to relapse, the hard part is pretty much you're over the hardest part. It's still going to be hard, but you've made it through the hardest part. When mentally you don't want to relapse anymore. Um, when you make it to 45 days, now you're going to go to 60 days. And when you make it to 60 days, now you're going to go to 90 days. And all I want you to focus on is making it to your markers, your milestones, your brick by brick. And brick one is 30 days. But just remember, you make it to 30 days and you relapse, you're back to day one. And how many day ones are you going to keep reliving? And he said something to me. It was, he goes, please reach out to me sometimes. Um, he's like, I still talk to our other buddy, which is how him and I met. He's like, I still talk to him a couple times a year, but not as often as I wish. And please just reach out to me from time to time. And I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before. I don't know if it's a cry for help, or what it is, man. But I feel like I can't let him down now. You know, I think that I need to be there for him as much as I possibly can. I put his 30 days in my calendar. I didn't tell him that, but um, I'll be reaching out to him within 30 days and making sure he's still doing what he wants to do. If you want to go sober, there's two things that typically happen. You hit rock bottom and you need to change, you know, which is what happened to me. I hit fucking rock bottom and I needed to change. I had a problem. I had an alcohol problem. Pretty bad one. And it took some things from me. So when that happened, it was very easy for me to make the decision that it's time to change. For some people, they don't they don't necessarily hit rock bottom. So when they don't when you're not at that level, finding a reason to change is it's not hard, it's just more difficult because there's really no reasoning there. You know what I mean? Like everybody has their own reasons. Everybody can have their own reason for becoming sober, but for me, the easiest thing reasoning for me to become sober was hitting rock bottom, but not everybody experiences that. Everybody's different. Fuck it, drop the cat. So the people that don't hit rock bottom and want to become sober, finding the reasoning is really hard. But if you can find a reason, a reason is enough. Like it doesn't need to be any kind of insane reason or anything like that. Any fucking reason. Even if it's just like, man, I want to see how long I can make it. Just to see. If I let me see if I can make it 30 days. Fucking do it, dude. Do it. See how you feel in 30 fucking days and tell me straight up you don't feel like a completely different person when you don't have any kind of alcohol in your system after 15 days. Like, dude, the way I felt when I became completely sober and like my system was like completely deregulated, I just felt like a completely different person, man. And it was amazing. It was like I was kind of like reborn, in a weird way. Like I just became a completely different person. My perspective changed, my motivation changed, my ambition changed, my diet changed, my sleep changed, my attitude changed. Everything in my life changed when I became sober. But that's because I needed to become sober. So sorry for that little emotional segment at the end there, but I hope anybody out there that's thinking about becoming sober, man, you can fucking do it. Like, god damn it, if I can do it, dude, anybody can fucking do it. Trust me. And I know that's cliche, but anybody can fucking become sober. But you gotta want to become sober. If you don't want to become sober, you won't, and it won't stick. So I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. My name's Tayler Goodyear. I forgot to say that at the beginning, but I own TG CNC Service and Spare Time Trucking out of Wisconsin. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. We'll see you guys.